and I'm feeling good.
So here's a new game that's coming out. And I should mention this story, I believe, comes from a blog, and so the editorial slant is not the official hype of the game.
Ah, okay.
Imagine you are a foot soldier in a paramilitary group whose purpose is to remake America as a Christian theocracy and establish its worldly vision of the dominion of Christ over all aspects of life. You are issued high-tech military weaponry and instructed to engage the infidel on the streets of New York City. You are on a mission, both a religious mission and a military mission, to convert or kill Catholics, Jews, Muslims, Buddhists, gays, and anyone who advocates the separation of church and state, especially moderate mainstream Christians. Your mission is to conduct physical and spiritual warfare. All who resist must be taken out with extreme prejudice. You have never felt so powerful, so driven by a purpose. You are 13 years old, you are playing a real-time strategy video game whose creators are linked to the empire of megachurch pastor Rick Warren, best-selling author of The Purpose-Driven Life. The game, slated for release by October 2006 in advance of the Christmas shopping rush, has been previewed at video game exhibitions and reviewed by major newspapers and magazines. I believe in your editing fervor you cut out the actual title of the game.
Oh.
Which is, I think, Left Behind Eternal Forces.
Wow. Yeah, if I didn't know better, I would think this was somebody making a game to lampoon Christians.
I initially I had to hunt through the internet to find that it had been covered on GameSpy.com, and then I knew it was a real game.
I knew it was a real game because I remember the announcements for this game coming from them a couple years ago.
There was also a story on it in the New York Times, and it appears to be, I looked at some screenshots, it appears to be a real-time strategy game with a very similar interface to Warcraft 3, for example, which is one of my favorite games. So I would probably find this fun if the theme were not so creepy.
But I'm getting it anyway because of what you're about to read.
Okay. The game immerses children in present-day New York City, 500 square blocks stretching from Wall Street to Chinatown, Greenwich Village, the United Nations headquarters, and Harlem. The game rewards children for how effectively they role-play the killing of those who resist becoming a born-again Christian.
I've got a $10 bill that says one of your missions is to blow up the UN.
Yeah, they mentioned the United Nations, and we all know that the UN is part of the evil Antichrist one-world government. The game also offers players the opportunity to switch sides and fight for the army of the Antichrist, releasing cloven-hoofed demons who feast on conservative Christians and mechanics proselytes who taste a lot like Christian.
Yeah. I'm waiting to find out if the game balance is the same for both sides, or whether they've hamstrung the evil side.
Well, of course, in the single-player missions, it should be easy to. I mean, the deck is always stacked a little bit in favor of the player in some way.
The player can be on either side.
Right.
What I am asking is, if I play through the game as the Christians, and then I play through the game again as the Satanists, are my chances of success equal? And I bet they're not.
No, I don't know.
I bet that they have violated a fundamental principle of game design, which is that you've got to have a chance either way.
I don't necessarily see that they would do that. I think more likely they would have the closing video be some sort of a Pyrrhic victory.
Yeah.
Where technically you win.
And then God comes and steps on you.
Right.
Something like that.
Like the Monty Python foot.
We'll see. I'm very curious.
But this is creepy in a whole bunch of ways because I mean, this guy says it rewards children for how effectively they role play the killing of those
who resist. Game.
Yeah, I mean, let's be fair. In Warcraft, you don't role play being a knight fighting orcs. You act as a commander. And it's strategy more than anything else.
Right.
It's no more role-playing than chess is role-playing an ancient army. It's thinking about abstract pieces and killing things with it. But nevertheless, the idea of going and killing those who oppose the armies of God is just a disturbing concept in general. I mean, you can imagine translating this to the Islamic version. Do you think, don't you, that the Christian coalition would be incensed if they found out that people in Iran, say, were playing a game where you fight the Christian armies?
Slay the infidels.
They would be incensed, and they would point at that and say, "See, that proves what we were saying about them all along."
Yeah.
Right.
But now they can't do that.
And this proves what we have been saying about Christians all along.
Amen.
Except...
What, gay men? What?
Amen.
Oh, amen.
No.
Except...
Yeah?
We're all gamers. Everyone in this room is a game player.
Yep.
And we've all read stories where concerned parent groups try to stop games from coming out because they have violent themes. I mean, we know that Doom... I mean, the fact that these Columbine kids played Doom was blamed for their shooting spree. When, in fact, I've played Doom a lot and never shot up a high school.
That we can prove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to play competitively, and I've never shot up a high school.
But now they can't do that anymore, because all they have to do is point at this game.
There is a difference here, though.
And call them hypocrites.
Yeah.
I liked this.
There is not a organized weekly meeting of believers in the world of Doom and worship of the god of Doom.
It's true.
Right.
Well, there might be.
That exists. No,
there's a fan club
that
for
exists,
the Rock. Does that count?
Exists as a clearly, obviously fantastical escapist activity.
No, it's fiction.
There is no it's not reinforced
Some people probably
by a
don't
religion.
know it's fiction, but those are the disturbed fringes. And
right, and
your average Doom fan would tell you this is fantasy.
Right. People who are disturbed enough to take Doom seriously. It's just, for them, it's just a question of what they're going to latch onto as their stimulus excuse to do something crazy. Right?
Right.
Likewise, when we're talking about non-fantastic things, say, I quite enjoy playing Battlefield 1944?
Mm-hmm.
40...
Battlefield 1942?
42. Which is Nazis versus the Allies, right?
Right.
Axis
and sometimes you play the Nazis,
and there are two different campaigns, and you can play either one, right? That is an historical game, but something that already happened, right? There's no danger that you're really going to go back and refight World War II, and this time the Nazis will win.
But there are real neo-Nazi groups in the world.
But there are real neo-Nazi groups, and it's, I guess, potentially, though I've never heard of this, potentially there might be Nazis out there buying these games and playing it just to make money.
Right, but there's another difference.
That's all, and that's also
specifically. This is specifically being marketed to Christians who are encouraged to believe. I mean, like,
they believe
that game was not
behind.
marketed to Nazis. Here, now you have a chance to make it all come out right. Right? So those are actual differences.